What you guys, got another video here for you. In this one we're going to be looking at optimizing and tweaking Windows 10 to suit your liking. Now in this video we're going to be taking a look at how we can do some tweaks to make Windows 10 more user friendly. Now people always talk about tweaking, boosting, performance enhancing. It's very difficult to do that with little minor tweaks, but these little tweaks here will make a little bit of difference, but not vast amounts. The main difference will be if you update to an SSD and memory. So let's take a look at that right now. As you can see, the first step would be to upgrade your computer's memory. This is a overlooked thing that makes the computer a lot faster, and if you stick more memory in, it's going to be a lot more quicker and be able to do many more multiple tasks that you put the computer through, like rendering, opening up more applications and stuff like that. So you can see here we've got quite a bit of memory. The next one would be to install an SSD. This is the optimal tweak or performance boost that you can give a computer today, and this will really speed up the computer's performance. So this is what I would recommend you do before you do all these little tweaks after this. So the next one would be to manually disable services. Now I'm not going to go through step by step. I'm going to show you a few of these, and then I'm going to show you a quicker option to go ahead and do that. Also, I've made loads of other videos showing people how to disable certain types of services. So here we can see we've got our services open here. You can just follow the on-screen display, and you can see I'm going to start to go through and disable some services. So as I said, this would be a really lengthy process. There's loads of good sites out there that you can just follow through and disable some of the services that you want to disable. Now you don't have to disable all the ones I'm disabling. You can disable whatever you like, but be warned that if you disable the wrong ones, your Windows will become unstable and may not work correctly. So always do your research first. As you can see, it's pretty straightforward. You can just double click on some of these and disable them. Now the ones that you're really concerned about are like telemetry, data collecting and all that sort of stuff. You want to disable all those if you're concerned about privacy and Microsoft collecting data from your computer. So they're the ones that you want to go ahead and sort of disable really. So I'll show you a couple of more here on disabling them. It's pretty straightforward. I have done loads of videos here on how to do this, so if you want to watch some of them other videos, by all means go ahead and watch those. I've done two different types to show you some of the services that you can disable safely. Now there is an easier method to do this. If you don't want to do this and you think it's a bit time consuming, or you want to speed this process up, then you can do by using an automated method. Okay, so let's take a look at how we can automatically disable or stop services. Now we can use a free program which you can download. It's called Easy Service Optimizer version 1.2, and you've seen me make a video of this before, and basically what it does is allows you to stop all your services that are well-known services in one foul swoop. It will let you do it in one click. So let's take a look at the actual program itself. So I'm going to fire up. I've got it on my desktop. I've already unzipped it and got this here. I'm going to say yes to the user account control, and this is the actual program here. Now down the bottom you can see here we've got the default settings, we've got safe settings and tweak settings, and also extreme. So let's just say for instance we're on safe. Now you've got up the top here, apply the settings to mark services, restore mark services. Okay, start selected service and also stop selected service. Now also here you can add a new service, delete a service, and so on here as well. Now you've seen me do a full review of this, so you can check this out if you wish, but basically this is what we got here. So let's take a look here. If we look at, say for instance, this here on the safe, if I wanted to add this to, you can see it's green here, that means the service is running and it's set to automatic. Now if I wanted to disable this one, I could add this to the safe area and disable this by right clicking on it and stop, or it can hit it up here. So we can stop that service. But you can see by stopping the service, what's going to happen is it's going to automatically start again because it's set to automatic. So to change that, what we need to do is right click on this Okay, so now you can see this service here. If I wanted to stop this service and add this to the safe collection, we could do that. All we need to do is either right click and stop it, or we can hit stop here, just like so. Now because we've stopped it, it doesn't mean that that is now stopped forever, because it's set to automatic. So we need to obviously set this up, and the way you can do that is double click on it, and you can see here it gives you the information, and startup type automatic. And so you can see here we're going to disable this, and also default, sorry, safe disabled. It gives you the option here, but I want to disable that completely. So now that's not going to come on, and that's basically how you can do that. You don't need to change the safe. You could just use the tweak if you want, but if you want to use just the safe area, you could go ahead and do that. So just be careful what you're stopping. You can see here I'm going to stop this one, and also that is disabled. I'm going to disable that. So there you go. So basically you can go through here just the way you did before, or you can use the setup that they've got here, which will be the tweak versions disabled. So if I did this, you'll see these ones are green. That means they're running. So if I push this now, apply settings on the tweaked, it should then stop those. There you go, they're done. Now to restore that, you would obviously just hit restore, and it will restore them, and you see them come back on. So we're just going to apply that, and that's pretty much it in a nutshell. They are now disabled, and that's how you use that program. Okay, so now we're going to speed up applications launch at boot. We're going to go into the registry editor here, and once we've got our registry editor open, we need to go to HKey current user. I'm going to come down to where it says software, then Microsoft, and pull this down. I'm going to go to Windows, current version. Then we want to look for Explorer here. Now open up the Explorer tab here by clicking on the little arrow to the side. And I'm looking for a particular type of folder, but I can't see it here. So we're just going to create one here. So to create a new folder, we're going to right click and go new and key. And now we can type in the name of our folder. You can see the path here at the bottom of the registry. That is the location we have got to. So now let's type in our folder name, serialize, and then we want to right click on the right hand pane, go new, dword 32-bit, and then type in there startup delay, and then we want to put in there in msec at the end, just like so, and then you can leave the default value to 0 for that one. That's fine. Click OK, and now we've finished in there, so we can close that off. Let's just close the registry editor off, and we'll move on to the next step. Next step is to disable the visual effects. Now these sort of make, if you've got a really sort of slow PC, then this can really help a lot, especially with all the graphic effects that it has. So we can go into system here, and once we're in there we want to go to advanced system settings. So just open up that little folder there, and then we're going to go into where it says performance, click settings, and once we're in there you'll see visual effects. Now you can adjust for best appearance or adjust for best performance. We're going to go custom, and then we're going to remove some of the ticks. Now you can see all the animation ticks here. We're going to remove these to speed up the system. Now this has been going on for a long time, since Windows Vista days. You could make these tweaks and XP days, but they do a fair bit of difference when you make these changes. So we're going to just take these ticks out. Now if you're really struggling with an old machine, then you can take a lot of ticks out, a lot more ticks out. So we'll just take a few more out here. Show shadows under windows, and we'll also remove that, slide open the combo boxes. That makes it a lot more faster. And smooth edges on screen fonts, we can remove that. You can remove whatever you like really, but they're the ones that I'm going to remove for this one. But you can remove whatever you like. It's your visual effects, you do what you like. And once you've done that, click OK. So now we're going to tweak apps and features. So we can right click on the desktop, go display settings here, and then go apps and features. And inside here you'll see a load of apps that we can remove. I'm just going to remove all these. 3D Builder we don't need. You can leave these on there if you wish. I mean, there's loads of ones you'll see that you can't remove, but I'll show you a way to remove those in a second. But just remove the ones that you don't want, like Candy Crush, Soda, Saga. You can get rid of that. Uninstall. Farm, yeah, I don't need that. You get rid of this. And once you've got all this off, now you could remove, you could do a lot of tweaks with scripts and stuff like that as well. This is just one way of going about doing it manually, but I've also got a script, big long script that I could use to do this as well. But that would be just basically running that and sitting back and watching it work. Now if you wanted to remove some other stuff, we'll go back into there. And let me just show you what it looks like now. You can see there's OneNote here. And we've also got Xbox. Now Xbox can cause some problems with PC gaming as well. So if you want to uninstall this, you can see the uninstall feature is missing. And you can get some commands here to do this. We're going to open up PowerShell. And you can use the remove app package. So we just open up PowerShell here, and this will allow us to do that. So I'm going to go to PowerShell. I'm going to run this as administrator by right clicking and run as administrator for PowerShell. And then click yes, and then we can get this in here. You just paste this straight in and push enter. And I'll leave it. There's a list, a big long list of these you can get from other websites which you can use. And copy and paste these straight in, and it will remove these here. You can get them on Microsoft websites as well. So that's them removed now. So let's take a look again. So let's just quickly change to another area and go back, and you'll see they have now been removed. So you could go ahead and remove whatever you like really by using that command with different versions of it. Okay, so next up we're going to tweak the Windows Update settings. So let's go into the Windows Update settings. And once we're inside here, you can see Windows Updates. Go into Advanced Options here. Now you can look inside here. Now if you've got the if you've got the Pro version, you can have differ on. This allows you to make changes to your Windows Updates options. You might not have that option there, but you can also choose how your updates are delivered to you. Now also you can see here we want to turn this off, but I would advise you to turn it back on and put it onto PCs on my local network and then turn it off. The reason why is because it wants to share your speed and your updates with other people. So we're just going to turn that off. Also go into your privacy settings here. Just click on this and you'll see we're going to go through our privacy settings. Just turn these off. I'm going to leave Smart Screen on because it's a very good anti-malware detection. So I'm just going to leave that on and turn the rest of these off. Now again, these are all suggestive. You can leave these on if you wish. If you want to use them, then leave it on. Just only disable what you want to disable, okay? So I'm going to personalize ads in your browser. I'm going to turn that off. Don't want that on. And again, there's tons of tweaks that you can do. These are just some of them. So locational service. Some people might want that on. I can turn it off. And that's going to be gone off, as you can see here. Again, everything else is all off here. There's a lot of features that have been disabled now. So just work your way through. Camera, I'm going to turn that off because I don't want that controlling all the other areas. Microphone, that's going off. Again, you can see all the areas it's controlling here. Notifications. Now you can leave whatever you like on. Again, it's entirely up to you, but I'm just going to work through this. And it's very difficult doing tutorials like this because obviously there's so much to cover. And I was trying to do it as I was doing it live, but it's very difficult because I was busy, so I just ended up doing a voiceover on it. It's much more easier for me to do it that way for something this large. So we're just going to work through here, and you can see that's not on, and we want that off. That's definite. Again, I'm going to turn this off. Contacts off. Calendar. It depends whether you want that on or not. I'm going to have it off. Just go through here. Pretty much everything is going off for me. So just messaging off. Radio's off. Other devices. I'm going to switch this off. I don't use projectors and stuff on here, so I'm going to turn it off. And also feedback and diagnostics, I would set this to never, and also diagnostic and usage data, you need to have this to basic. You can't physically turn this completely off. I'm going to do the background apps now. Again, I'm just going to turn pretty much most of this off. I'm just going to turn all these off here, go through and turn them off. If you want some of these on, obviously leave them on. The choice is entirely up to you. I'm just going to get rid of all this. Most of this is no use to me really. Leave the Microsoft Edge on. Solitaire, if you play Solitaire, you can leave Solitaire on if you wish. I'm going to turn it off. Movies and TV I don't want. Netflix I don't want. News, OneNote. Just get rid of all this stuff. Okay. Leave settings there. Skype preview, sticky notes. If you use sticky notes, you can leave that on. Store. I can get rid of all this. Okay, cool. That's off. So let's move on to the next step. There's just so much stuff to turn off and turn on. It's ridiculous. So go back to display settings here. And we're going to move down to default apps here. And you can check all these here to make sure that you've got the right apps for the right thing, like your audio player and stuff like that. Notifications and actions, again. Show alarms, reminders, and incoming VoIP calls. You can go through here at your own leisure and just turn off what you want. Cortana, we can see here. I don't want that. In OneDrive, if you're not using OneDrive, you can turn it off here. So it's entirely up to you what you have on. Power and sleep. There you can set this to whatever you like. I'm just going to leave it there. Additional power settings, we'll go through that in a second. Storage. Offline maps. I don't want maps on there at all. Some of those can be quite large. And I'll just quickly go through here. And you can just make changes to whatever you like here, but I'm just going to quickly browse through these. It's just an abundance of stuff to turn on and off here, but we're just going to work our way through. Next thing is the power plan. I'm going to tweak the power area. So let's go to that location. And if you want to go back to larger icons, you can see it down here, or you can navigate through the other way depending on which way you want to go. Again, high performance, that's what we're going to have ours set to. It's normally on balance by default, but we're going to have it on there. And again, we're going to choose what power button does. And as you can see here, it's set to shut down. And you can see it turn on for fast startup recommended here as well. You can turn on hibernate if you want hibernate on. I don't really have hibernate on. And that's that one done. So we need to speed up Windows shutdown times now. Now these have been removed in this version, but in previous versions they were there by default and you could tweak them, but you can add them back in. It's set to a default value, but if you want to go lower, then you need to add them in, and I'll show you how to do that here. So as you can see, they're not here, so we're going to need to go new string value, and then we're just going to put in there hung app and then timeout, and then you can change this by adding in your own value. So 5,000 is 5 seconds. So it depends on what you want. 1,000 is 1 second. So it's going to leave it for 1 second. I think 5,000 is the default value. So we can add in one more here. So I'm going to go new string value and then add in one more here. And we're going to call this wait to kill app and then timeout. I'm going to change this by double clicking on it and adding our value. Now 2,000 or 20,000 I should say is the default value for this, which is 20 seconds. You can have 5,000 which is 5 seconds. So I'm going to leave it at that. Maybe 2,000 is 2 seconds. Yeah, well, maybe leave it on 2,000. That's yeah, that's 2 seconds. But 5,000 is probably going to be better, I think. But we'll just leave it on that. Now we're going to move down to another area. H key, local machine, system, current control set, control, and then you'll see wait to kill service. They've left this one in here, timeout. And that's set to 5,000 here. That's 5 seconds. And you can change this if you want to. Don't go too low. I wouldn't go lower than that because it could cause problems. But we'll leave it at that, 2 seconds. I'm going to close that off. And next we're going to disable Cortana. Now if you use Cortana, you don't need to disable it. I personally don't use it, so I'm just going to disable it. Now you can use the group policy editor here. Now if you haven't got a group policy, if you haven't got this version, you have to use a Windows tweak to do that. And we're just going to do this via the group policy. And I've done videos on this as well, so you can check that out. So I'm just going to go through here, Windows components, pull this down now. Obviously there is a heap of stuff that you can tweak in group policy editor. I'm not going to add loads of it inside this video. It will take forever to cover everything. Okay, so obviously disable, and the lock screen we're going to disable as well, and just put in a disable there, and that's that. As I said, there is tons of other stuff you can tweak inside here. I've done videos on group policy. If you want to check those out, they're also on my channel on the playlist. You can check all those out. But we're just keeping it simple here and keeping to the basics, the stuff that mainly people complain about, and we'll just cover that in this video. But if you want to see more of that, you can check out my other stuff. So I'll close this off, and again, There's some other settings here. You can see colours. You can change your colours and do all that other sort of good stuff. Depends on what you want to do here. Now, if we're going to come down and just check Cortana here, you can see Cortana lock screen settings. You can turn this off as well, and you want to turn all this stuff off. I'm going to get rid of all that. Taskbar, tidbits. That's a bit of a name, tidbits. Yeah, you can turn that stuff off. My history device, I'm going to turn that off as well. You can clear your device history as well from there. So that's that. And you can go into some of these other areas if you wish and change this up. This is where you change all your themes and stuff. If you don't like the dark theme, you can change it to whatever you like. But you've got some other areas here that you can tweak if you wish. But pretty much I'm just going to leave that as is, I think. Next up, we're going to take a look at virtual memory settings, and this is one of these highly debatable topics. So I'm going to right click on the start button here and hit system, and once you're inside here you can hit advanced system settings, and we're going to be going into the performance area, which is where we went to before for our visual effects. And this time we're going to go to advanced, and you can see we've got processing, scheduling, and also you can see it's set to programs and background services depending on which way you want to set this up. And you've got your virtual memory settings here. Now we're on a virtual machine here, but I'll give you an example of what it is. So for argument's sake, Windows does a pretty good job at managing the paging file system or size for each drives. And I normally, nowadays, I mean, for the amount of memory I've got 50 gigs of memory, so I don't really need to mess around with it too much. I'll just leave it as it is. But if you do want to, you can take the tick out here. System manage sizes here. And also you've got no paging file. This is what a lot of people tend to do, is they normally stick it to no paging file and set this to set. I don't like having no paging file. I mean, people say once you get to about 8 gigs of memory you can turn this off. I've not been a big fan of that, and I've run into problems myself, so I try not to turn it off completely. You can do a custom size here, and it's 1.5 times of your memory. So basically on this machine here we're looking at the recommended here, and if you look at the recommended, that will be in your initial size. So you just put that in there like so, and I would say, you know, 1.5 times the system memory is what would go into the maximum size. That's what the normal stated recommendation is. But I mean, if you want to stick in something here, you can do, depending on how far you want to go with it. So let's just say, for instance, we did say 4,000 and something. Let's just do 4,000 and then set that, and that's how you could set for your C drive, as you can see here. Now if you've got other drives here, you could set that for other drives as well, but you see that's set there. But personally, I have no reason to change that, so I just normally leave mine on automatically managed, and that seems to work just fine for me. But when you've got very little memory, back in the old days, tweaking this was a real good tweak, but today I don't think it's so necessary with the amount of memory that we've got. So that is how you can do your virtual memory settings. Now I'm pretty sure that a lot of people in the comment section are going to say, oh, you should have done this, oh, you should have done that, and that's exactly why I leave that as it is, because it's a highly topical debate where you'll start getting into it of what you should do and what you shouldn't do. This is my settings, you should have done this. So I just try to leave it as it is. Remember, these tweaks are really sort of marginal performance boosts, so I don't really see tweaking Windows as a really boost in your system. If you go on my forum, you'll see that we always talk about tweaking certain settings, like the hard drive. It's already enabling caching already by default, but people seem to put that in their list as well. And you've got fast boot now, which is by most motherboards, which will add fast boot to the boot up sequence, which makes it boot up faster. if you've got a modern day motherboard, you can download and enable that feature and it will give you fast boot. Anyway, we'll move on to the next step. So let's cover this last area, Wi-Fi settings. I'm going to go into network and internet. Now if you haven't got a Wi-Fi connection, then you won't see the Wi-Fi option. So just go into the left hand side here, click on Wi-Fi, and we're going to go in here. Now Wi-Fi Sense, I would disable that, I don't want that going. So I'm going to turn that off, and also I'm going to turn off hotspots, I don't want that on. And I'm also going to turn off any other type of hotspot there. And also paid Wi-Fi services, I'm going to turn that off as well. Pretty much we're good to go here. Now obviously I wanted to mention the home group area. If you are one of these people that like to use home group and stuff like that, then you want to make sure that you don't disable that service, otherwise none of that stuff is going to work. Okay, so when you're tweaking services, make sure that you're not tweaking the ones that you're going to be using, otherwise it won't work, like print spooler and stuff like that. If you've got a printer, then obviously you're going to need the print spooler running. If you disable that, then it won't run. Same as a home group and all the other types of services. So just bear all that in mind when you're doing your tweaking, and you should be good to go. So I'm going to disable these, and we're pretty much good here. Wi-Fi Sense is off. I'm not signed into that, so that's cool. So I can move on, and I think that's going to be about it really, because this is going to end up a massive video otherwise. But I think that's going to be enough for now. If you want to see more of this sort of stuff, I've got plenty more tweaks. Anyway, my name is Brian from briteccomputers.co.uk. Hopefully this one helps you out, guys. If it does, then hit the like button. Also hit the subscribe button if you want to keep up to date when I upload new videos. Also, if you've got any problems with your computers, you can always head over to the forums. Okay, guys? So thanks again for watching. Bye for now.